doot.
We are live on Thursday morning.
So you connect so much faster than I connect on the Bear Independent channel. Bear Independent channel. What?
I wonder if that's like a Mac versus Windows.
I think it's shadow banned and 2-channel strikes versus not shadow banned and not 2-channel strikes thing.
That
Me
tracks.
personally.
That tracks.
Because it doesn't matter which device I use.
Right.
Of all of my existential crises rectangles, they're all bad.
Should we let them go?
Yeah.
Let's just let them go.
Can you guys hear? Let us know if it's
Campfire
Friday
Chef. We have It's Fluster Cluck.
Oh,
It's
Fluster Cluck. I love her. She's amazing. She's awesome.
Chase Ruzika.
Chase is here? Oh, it's going to be a good day. Hey, guys. So, you may have noticed, okay, first of all, I'm from Minnesota. Very nice human being. Lots of lakes and trees. And
Don't you know?
grasses and little furry mammals that live in the hedgerows, Typically, we would do our weekly Refuge live stream at 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesdays. One person noticed yesterday. That was Rick. He called the store and was like, "Yo, are you going live or what?"
Are you
like,
guys okay?
"Hi, Rick. Good to talk to you again." No, but we're shifting models necessarily. We're gonna be live Thursday mornings, approximately 8 a.m. Central Time. We're doing that for a couple of reasons. Number one, who has time to watch a freaking live stream 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, right? It's the middle of the week. You're just getting punched in the face by life. You probably got work to do. So yeah, that doesn't work. And then number two, we live in the pivot around here, and we have some considerable projects that we're working on for very large clients on the back end of this while still maintaining our DTC, direct to customer channels with y'all. And so it's just a better fit. And I think a better window for you to be able to actually consume the content each week rather than missing another live stream in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week. We're going to hit Thursday morning. And you can let us know whether you like this or don't like this. And, we'll take that into consideration. What do you think about that, Heath?
I mean, best thing we can do is try.
That's it. I get it all the time, right? I've been operating companies for 24 years now. By and large, from little itty bitty companies to 10-figure companies, billion-dollar companies. And all the time people are like, "Mr. Bear, how do you know so much about business?" I don't. I genuinely don't. What I know is all the things that don't work, right? And so we're gonna try to not do the things that I know don't work, which this leaves imagine this, a straight and narrow path of things that do work.
Imagine that.
And then even on that path, you can pivot back and forth. My analogy has always been like you go bowling, right? And the goal is to hit the bowling pins. Cool. I'm going to put bumpers in the gutters. And now it doesn't matter how much I suck at bowling because if all I got to do is throw the ball and I will bounce back and forth, pivot, if you will, back and forth between the two bumpers until I knock a pin over or I knock all of them over. There's a spiritual aspect to this as well. The Word and the Word made flesh. If you just carome back and forth in your faith walk in between the Word and the Word made flesh, oh, yay, I knocked a pin over.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much I suck at bowling.
See, I've always used the analogy of a straight road and you're just in your truck and, you're correcting from one side to the other, but as long as you don't get off in the ditch, you're fine.
Yeah, rumble strips.
Yeah.
Rumble strips.
Right.
Oops. Oops, I was daydreaming too hard. So we do have some live stream topics today. We have a story here of an aid rendered. It was a teen who was shot in the leg. And the reason I think this is applicable to all of us, like, why should you even care? Oh no, a kid was shot in the leg. I have a gun on my hip. Do you have a gun on your hip? Appendix, okay. Have you ever gone hunting before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too. How long have you been hunting in years, would you say?
A lot.
Most of them?
Most of them.
Yeah, me too. Most of them, right? And so most of us, if as long as you don't live in certain areas of the country, and probably, listen, if you're watching this channel, probably even regardless if you live in certain areas of the country, have firearms either on us or near us at all times. And we tend to think of like gunshot wounds as like, oh yeah, of course, Ramadi, people were getting shot, man.
Yeah.
But people are getting shot right now, sometimes themselves. I mean, the whole SIG P320 debacle.
Right.
Bro, do we even want to go there? Don't touch that. We'll make the SIG people very unhappy.
It's not all SIG.
It's not all SIGs.
It's not. It's certainly not.
Just the
Says
320.
the girl that has a SIG that's not a 320.
No, it's not all SIGs.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if your gun was unsafe, your husband would say, hey, honey, you can't have this gun anymore.
Yeah,
It's time for something
100%.
different. But my point is, we're around firearms on the regular, and there's this weird disconnect that happens when people go hunting. They're like, I'm just going to the woods. Nothing bad could happen, right? Nobody's shooting at me. I'm not going to downtown Chicago. I'm not doing a business deal. It's nothing. I'm not, taking the week's earnings into the bank. I'm just going into the woods, get a little me time with a rifle,
Right.
maybe or shotgun, crossbow, bow and arrow. Maybe I'll see a deer, maybe I won't. What's the worst that could happen? There's a lot of hunting-related injuries.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest detriment in general is most people have a certain cognitive dissonance to make them believe that that will never happen to me. But it can.
Until it does.
Right.
Oh, snap. You want to read that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Port Byron, Illinois, per Gray News, KWQC, an Illinois teenager nearly died in a hunting accident, but he saved his own life with a self-made tourniquet. First of all, good job. You never really want to plan to improvise, but if you don't have the actual kit to be able to save your life,
hey Mike,
do what you got to do.
Can you bring me one of those orange triangle bandages? Preferably one that's open.
16-year-old Liam Mathis is back on his feet. He said, I was moving a gun across my upper body like a round, and it hit a tree and went off. I got shot in the upper thigh, Liam said.
What's on the upper thigh?
Ooh. Well,
hey Mike, is there anything important in your upper thigh region?
Garden hose, that might be your femoral artery.
Oh, thanks, bro. Yeah. There's a femur in there.
Well, big bone
Keep
too.
reading, honey.
Yep. I thought we had one. Go ahead.
He goes
reading,
on to
honey.
say that his leg was bleeding heavily. Naturally, that makes sense. Knowing he had to act fast, he jumped out of the tree stand and tied a tourniquet using his jeans and a stick. Good job. I looked down and stood up, and I saw blood pouring out of my pant leg, Liam said. I was just worried. All I was worried about was getting the blood to stop and be able to, at least, see my dad or talk to mom for the last time if I was going to pass away.
Ugh.
But I didn't. So you see the reality, the humanity of everything rushing through.
And this is a teenager?
A teenager.
Oh my
16
gosh.
years old.
I just want to see mom and dad one more time and say bye.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
His dad, Jed Mathis, was in the dark until Liam alerted him that something was wrong by getting in the front of the trail camera that would send photos to his dad.
Oh.
Wow.
That's smart.
Technology.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's really good. I wonder if he had any other types of communication with them.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of places that I've gone hunting, zero signal, zero reception.
I know we have one.
Yeah, we totally have one somewhere, but it's fine.
Okay.
Who cares? It's whatever.
All right, continue, babe. Sorry.
I knew something was wrong. I wasn't sure of the extent of it, Jed Mathis said. Came running back here, and that's when I saw him lying on the ground with his leg kind of just pretty much flayed wide open with a bullet wound. Yeah. Liam's condition was so severe that he was airlifted twice, first to Peoria, Illinois, and then to St. Louis. His parents said he had blown out his entire thigh, leaving a vascular doctor working on his arteries, nerves, and vessels. Liam's mom, Sue Mathis, was amazed that her son was able to keep his leg. It's pretty crazy what the doctors did, and that he came out of the first surgery with a leg, because we weren't sure if it was going to have a leg when he came out or, be alive.
We didn't know if he'd have a leg or, be alive. Sue has probably not been media coached though.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. It's all right, Sue. We're on Team Sue.
But Liam is a fighter, fighting not just for his life, but for his future. His dad says he's amazed by his son's will to survive and keep his composure. The amazement of his will to survive, to keep his composure together from watching movies and talking to his uncles that were in the military. So having that little bit of know-how of what to do and how to do it, saved his life for sure, Jed Mathis said. His mom agrees. He knew what to do somehow, and he was smart enough to do it, Sue Mathis said. I'm grateful that he's here because some people aren't that lucky.
That's what's so crazy is that he just had little bits from family.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he had formal training,
Right.
I
mean, I remember growing up, my great-granddad, he was in the Navy during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
His ship went down. He ended up washing up on, what are those islands just south of Japan that kind of jet down?
Oh.
Anyways,
yeah.
Geography.
Is that where SpongeBob is from?
Must be.
The Bikini Atoll?
Bikini Bottom.
Bikini Bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He washed up at Bikini Bottom.
Anyway.
Anyways, listening to stories of him, having to, because he's completely unarmed, trained in hand-to-hand combat, has to take multiple lives with his bare hands just to survive until rescue comes.
Wow.
And then, of course, render aid to himself and do all of these different things without any gear.
Greatest generation for a reason.
Yeah.
Greatest generation for a reason. I was over at the other office, which we're converting the other office into the rec room. The whole thing is going to be classroom and studio, which is super cool. So it'll stay set up, which will help Lauren's life. It'll help Yoshi's life. It'll help Dudley's life, right?
Sure.
It'll help everybody in this building because we'll have a dedicated classroom. Super cool. We don't have the operational drag of when we're training in here. It's like, could you guys maybe not so loud? And they're like, that's our job. And I'm like, I know, but we got to.
The machine has one volume.
I don't know why, but for whatever reason, the curtain is not soundproof. So I was over there yesterday, and we've moved quite a bit of the stuff that was in there out to make room for the Refuge rec room. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be a whole thing that's coming with that. But I had refound a bunch of stuff that was my dad's stuff before he passed, and so his briefcase that had like all his documentation and stuff inside of it, and a bunch of old family photos. I was sitting in there yesterday, and I was going through them, and I was like, oh, that's my Uncle James, Sergeant Major in the Marine Corps. Well, look at him, he's like 18, fresh out of basic in his uniform. I was like,
Right.
Oh man, that's awesome. And like, that's my cousin Luke, when 18, joined the Navy, like went on to a long career in naval special warfare and the whole. I was like, this is so cool to see, right? And like World War II photographs of my dad's side of the family, man. Every one of them was like, if you're not in the service, you suck. It was just a part of who they were.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool to see all those old photos. And you're looking at these pics, and it's like, there's a part of me that's going, man, we're so soft today. Like, look at these men and women, right? The pictures of the women and the girls, just real, basic dress, nice dresses, nice skirts, nice tops, beautiful but stoic. There was like a hardness to them, There was no like, I don't know, let's stop by Starbucks on the way to Target. There was none of that,
Right.
Growing food and making things in factories. And all the.
They were making people at home, like that was just a thing. And my dad had a huge family. I've almost gotten into bar fights with people on the road working back in my previous life, only to find out we shared the same last name. For real.
Brother?
Yeah. And then it was this guy in Eastern Texas. And he was a big dude, big old fella, right? And I had resolved to, I'm going to give this guy the opportunity to buy him a beer and walk away. And if that doesn't work, I'm hitting him in the face as hard as I can, and then we're going to the ground. And so I buy him a beer, and I'm turning to walk away, and he goes, "What does the back of your shirt say?" I said, "It says Morris Enterprises. That's my company." He goes, "You're a Morris, I'm a Morris." I'm like, "Who's your grandma?" And so, because Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas is like all those Morrises are my Morrises somehow. And so we start talking. His grandma was my grandma's sister. We're like second cousins or something. And he's like, "Let me buy you a beer." And like next thing, we're like, "Did we just become best friends? This is awesome." But so this kid in Peoria, Illinois, saved his own life by improvising a tourniquet from his jeans and a stick. And so I wanted to illustrate, we highly recommend having purpose-built equipment for that task. This is a Slishman, Sam Slishman, who is an ER doc, came up with this. And this is basically just stretchy. It's just stretchy. And it works really simply. And it works incredibly well for pediatric patients, which is why he came up with this, because he's got a bunch of kids and he's passionate about saving lives, right?
Yeah.
So let's say I had an injury here. You put this on and you just pull. It's got this intermittent Velcro on it, hook and loop, because Velcro is trademarked. And you just pull and you keep wrapping and pulling and sticking it to you. And it's so easy, kids can do it, right? And you just keep doing that. And already, I mean, the vascularity in the back of my hand, it's already starting to constrict the vessels.
Yeah.
And this is a 2-bone compartment. There's a lot of conjecture and opinion on whether or not tourniquets work on 2-bone compartments, and they absolutely do, okay? They absolutely work. Because generally speaking, a tourniquet is going to work by pinching the bleeding vessel against the interior bone structure, just like you would pinch off a garden hose. Well, if there's 2 bones and the vessels in between them, how could it possibly work? You just squish the 2 bones against the garden hose. That's how it works. Yep. So, not to get deep into the physiology, but that's the Slishman. This weighs nothing. It takes up no space. You know, you can stick this in a hip pocket, or if you got like some of those Born Primitive cool guy pants, stick it in one of the 14 pockets that you have. And then this is a CAT Gen 7 combat application tourniquet, orange for the civilian side. This weighs nothing. It's inexpensive. I carry one of these in my pocket or a soft tee in my pocket, and they're really basic. So you can just throw that on. Soft tee right there. Pull, turn the stick. I got it on good. There we go. The tail goes in between the C-clip. Time tab goes across. Bleeding is stopped, and that works on arms and legs. So had this kid in Illinois had one of these, he wouldn't have had to improvise.
And for you larger fellas out there,
Yep.
there are a couple of gentlemen that I know whom I love who have tree trunks for legs.
Yep.
The Gen 7 CAT tourniquet will not work. There's just not enough surface area for that hook and loop to actually
hook and loop
to create enough friction to be able to hold as you're wrenching down that windlass, which point that is where the soft tee comes into play, the Special Operation Forces. Yep. It's got this buckle here. There's only one caveat to it, and it's easily overcomable. It's just got this ratcheting motion here.
Yep.
Get it high and tied up on the limb, get it as tight as you possibly can, and then you proceed with turning the windlass.
Is that your soft tee?
This is my soft tee out of my pocket, and it hurts already.
You got it good.
I got it.
You got it good.
Come on.
So this kid improvised the tourniquet, and that's really what I wanted to drive at. The soft tee takes a little bit more training than the CAT does. It's the same basic principle.
Yeah.
It's just the CAT has a larger C-clip on it to get the windlass into. The soft tee is a great tourniquet. I have 2 of them on me right now. But you should be training with all your stuff, even if it's just casual impromptu training like this. You know, hey, do I still know how to use this thing?
Right.
So this kid in Illinois made a tourniquet, and he used his jeans in a stick. I wanted to show you, this is a triangle bandage,
Oh, yeah.
which is super useful for all kinds of cloth craft. It comes with 2 safety pins here. And from a wilderness medicine standpoint, having one of these or a couple of these in your pocket is, you can do anything you want with this thing. This is cordage, this is a sling, this is a pre-filter for water, this is char cloth waiting to happen. Because it's orange, this is a signaling device.
Yep.
This is a headband. This is for collecting dew off of grass if you're dehydrated in the mornings. This and 1,000 other, gear repair, 1,000 other things. But one of the things it can be used for, it comes like this, unfolded, or before you unfold it, it comes like this. And so, go ahead and stick your arm out. Oh no, Heath shot himself in the arm. Okay, I can take this and I can go ahead and tie off like that. Note that it's like 1.5 inches wide, okay? Where do I want this? I want it high and tight, right there. That's already gonna start to constrict the bleeding vessel.
Yep.
And then I've got these 2 tails. Now I need something, a stick or anything else that I might have on me that is stick-like. And I happen to have a flashlight here in my EDC. I can take this, has that little hook on there, hook it in place, tie another just overhand knot, not hook it in place. Don't die, buddy, it's gonna be okay.
Tell the blood to stop, Heath.
We're doing it live.
Stop it.
Tie it in place, okay? Keep this tail, and if I turn this, this is not gonna feel great.
Yep, that hurts.
Yep, is it working?
Yep.
And I can use these 2 tails to tie this off in this position to stem the flow of blood. And it's pretty basic. Now, a plan to improvise can oftentimes be a plan to fail, which is why we like purpose-made stuff. But having one of these in your pocket that weighs nothing, costs next to nothing, and the reason I like the orange rather than the cool guy OD green is that this is the Warrior Kid Medic brand, and it has all of the different
Look at the
uses.
camera. For some reason, there it goes.
Oh.
It was just like too good on. It's like he's not looking.
Look at this.
It has all, like, not all of, but a bunch of the uses and instructions for it on here. How to make a tourniquet, loop hitch, pressure bandage, wound packing, ring pad around an impaled object, how to wrap a foot, how to wrap an arm, all those things. It's printed on here. And again, I need rescue, right? We want a handful of things when we're trying to attack the tension, one of which is it's got to have a different color so that it stands out.
Right.
And the other is motion, right? Why did a deer will flag with its white tail when there's danger, right?
That's right.
Because the contrast is there. So this has a lot of contrast in a natural environment. They weigh nothing, they cost nothing, they're very useful. And so it's awesome that that kid used his jeans.
Right.
You can use your jeans. You can also use one of these that you already have in your pocket and you've practiced on your buddy how to improvise a tourniquet with it. You could also carry something like the Slishman or like the cat that's purpose built for that. With all these things, you gotta know, you don't gotta know, but I strongly recommend that you actually know how to do this stuff, not just figure it out when you need it, because you don't wanna, if the cost of failure is somebody's life, I don't want to just be doing it for the first time.
100%.
You got a hand up, Lauren. What's up?
So a couple of things. Cade or Striker said, imagine the time it takes to improvise under pressure and you're treating a femoral bleed.
Yep.
Like just you dropping that flashlight, right?
Yep.
And to me, when I'm thinking about this kid, we've got 2 boys.
Yep.
If my boys were hunting by themselves as teenagers, we're not going to send them out there without A, knowing how to render aid to themselves, and B, having something on them. So I put the SOB on the table because I feel like in terms of hunting, this is probably our best kit because it's
Super
you wear it on
compact.
your-
That's a great kit.
Yeah, and
Great
it's
kit.
gonna have the tourniquet attached to it, unlike our slit.
Yeah, you
because
got
our
that.
slit doesn't have a tourniquet attached to it. That or the ankle, but anyways, I put that on there so you guys can talk about that. Also, Rick said tourniquet right leg.
Tourniquet right leg. Dang it, Rick. All right. So when you're applying a tourniquet to a leg, first thing you want to do is police your pockets. Get the stuff out of the way.
Show do.
Oh, look. What are those? That would be nicotine and lock picks. I don't know if I just got the dropsies today or what, bro. You know what it is? It's because Stryker's here and he's making me nervous.
That tracks.
That's what it is.
He's just got a presence about him that's
He does.
demanding.
High and tight.
High and tight.
Oh, yeah. That one was good. You want the stuff out of your pockets so that you're localizing the pressure.
Yep.
Not distributing the pressure over a wider area, which would result in an inadequate amount of pressure. What are you doing?
Trying to find my nicotine.
But
Okay.
also, if you do happen to get an adequate amount of pressure, say, so I've got a cigar torch in my pocket. You know, candle, right?
Yep.
I can make fire.
Now put your legs up on the table because this camera automatically zooms. There it is.
However, you know,
How's that? Is that
just
good?
because you have a tourniquet on your leg doesn't mean you can't move around, walk, or anything like that, unless
Do
your
jumping
leg
jacks.
is just absolutely
I hate
decimated.
jumping jacks.
It sucks. But with
I'll
that
stand
said,
on my tourniqueted leg.
if you put the tourniquet on over something like this, that can and easily will slip out of its place, at which point that tourniquet just failed.
Let's do this instead. I hate jumping jacks, but we do this in class all the time. How much do you weigh?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, like 195?
Okay, come here. Okay.
Boy, here we go.
There we go. Do we need the butt shot? Does that help? Does this help with sales?
Very nice.
Okay. So I'm on my tourniqueted leg. And I can move Heath if I need to with a tourniquet on my leg.
100%.
Now, I would not recommend Heath move me that way.
No.
That would
no.
probably be a bad idea.
I would probably utilize some like 1-inch tubular nylon.
Yep.
Oh, I mean like
Create-
a litter? Probably use a litter to move him?
Well,
We have those.
it depends on what you have. In my kit, I carry some 1-inch tubular nylon about 10 feet, so I can create some type of
Something to drag me
cradle, wrap it around his arms, pull it over, you know,
Well,
in this area.
with. We're kind of touching
drag.
on wilderness medicine here.
Oh.
And
Don't you
X.
dare.
I'm not. What
Okay.
I was going to say
Not
was,
saying the word wilderness.
no, definitely don't say the word wilderness. Definitely don't block out Labor Day weekend and the Tuesday afterwards. Don't do that
Don't
at
do
all.
that. Don't.
I don't want Lauren to be mad, so don't do those things. Don't say the word wilderness and don't block out August 31st through September the 2nd in Oklahoma. Don't do that at all. That goes back to, let's say something bad happens to me. Me and Heath are on a hunting trip and something bad happens to me. I shoot me in the leg. And Heath is looking at me going, love you, bro. And I'm not skipping leg day at the gym. But there ain't no way I'm moving your giant carcass from where we are to where help is. Okay. Movement and contrast.
100%.
Okay. Because the H in wilderness in the March algorithm is hike or helicopter. Am I going to hike with bear on my shoulder? Not very far. Do you think the incidence of injury for you is going to go up trying to hike with me on your shoulder?
Yeah. No. No.
Is the incidence of injury for me going to go up if you're dragging me? It's likely. So that goes back to helo.
So you think about it. You know, I've followed Cameron Haynes for quite some time.
And that guy's a specimen.
Specimen.
Yep.
But his story actually involves the death of his best friend that got him into hunting anyway.
Yep.
And he went out hunting alone. And something that Cam says all the time is, you will not beat the mountain.
Yep.
That's why he trains the way he does.
Yep.
His friend fell off the side of a cliff and died.
Yep.
There's no telling how long he laid there, you know, with a broken leg, or did he die on impact, or what the case is.
Yep.
But with that said, I don't even know if, you know, Cam carries medical gear or anything like that.
He oughta.
He absolutely should.
Maybe
Sim-
somebody should reach out to him.
So,
yeah.
but this goes back to I got a bright orange piece of cloth in my pocket, and I know what to do with it, right? And so skills weigh nothing and go with you everywhere. Praise the Most High that this teenage kid had enough, um, what would you call it, unofficial training, just from being around his family members that were also skilled, trained in this, to absorb the basic concept of I got to keep the blood inside my body. The way I do that is by pinching off the bleeding vessel.
For sure.
I can improvise a tourniquet with my jeans and a stick. Now,
I never thought of that stuff as a teen. Like, oh, my legs have those giant arteries. That never.
So when I was a kid, we had scouting. My dad was an Eagle Scout, and we lived on a big piece of land in upstate New York. And when I got my first gun, I got my first shotgun at 6, a break barrel 410 single shot.
Yeah.
And I got my first rifle at 7, a Ruger 1022, 22 caliber, holds 10 rounds. I was issued 1 round.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was probably 14 by the time I could be trusted with a full magazine, right? Because you got to make this round count. And so I had, this is before like New York State became wildly blue hair crazy.
Yeah.
We lived on, people here like, you're from New York? It's like, we had cows, we had hay fields. I was in the hay fields every summer throwing hay bales. We had chickens, we did all the things, man.
Everybody who thinks, New York, they think Manhattan Island.
Correct.
Right.
They think the whole thing's concrete.
Right.
Not the case. And so my point is, I was trusted as a kid with a round of live ammunition and the skills that I had to go out there and go shoot a rabbit, and go shoot whatever I wanted to. And in fact, we had muskrats that lived in one of our ponds, and I would get 50 cents per rat, but I had to have proof of life. And so I learned, because they'd come out of the pond, they'd get up on the little berm, and they'd sit on the berm and silhouette themselves. Perfect shot.
Yeah.
Unless they roll back into the pond, because I didn't have proof of life. So I'd wait for them to get on the far side of the berm, just kind of poke their head up and expose themselves, shoot them, and then they'd roll down into the grass.
Yeah.
And then I could go over there with my pocket knife that I had as a 6-year-old, cut the tail off, bring the tail back to my dad and go, look, I got 3 of them, and be like, that's $1.50.
Yes.
But when you only have 3 rounds in the rifle,
Yep.
you better hit, because if you don't hit, that's 50 cents that I don't get. This is back in the day when 50 cents was worth something. I just shaved all the gray out of my beard, but I've been here for a hot minute. So skills weigh nothing and go with you everywhere. So even when I was a kid, I had basic first aid understanding. Yeah. I didn't understand trauma medicine, but I think we all have, it's built into us the way the Father made us. It probably goes all the way back to Cain and Abel of blood outside the body, bad.
Yep.
Got to keep blood inside the body.
I mean, how many 5-year-olds intrinsically know that? 3-year-old, blood, bad, no.
Well, and watch what they do. They put their hand on it.
Yep.
That's direct pressure.
100%.
That's what we want, right? That's what we want. So it's awesome that kid is still here, got to keep his leg.
Yeah, praise Yah.
Praise Yah. But a plan to improvise is a plan to fail. What do you got, Lorraine?
We had a question from Street Dog Tinker. Is it still standard to check for femoral pulse on the foot after a tourniquet is applied? That was the standard when I was a combat medic.
So that's a pedal pulse. Like, we are bipedal humans, and it's spelled pedal, P-E-D-A-L, bipedal. That's a pedal pulse. And it depends at what level of training that you have as far as that being standard. And it also depends on the mechanism of injury. At our responder 1 level, bleeding prevention level, what we teach is you turn the windlass of the tourniquet until the bleeding has visually stopped. That's under the M for March algorithm. Then when we get to C, M-A-R-C, which is circulation, at a medic and up level, circulation would be the onus now to gain intravenous or intraoscular access. I need to be able to put stuff back inside the body, fluids that are pushing meds, whole blood products, et cetera, et cetera. But at the civilian or responder level, C is an onus to recheck our medical interventions, make sure that the tourniquet is still holding, that the wound packing is still holding. And so a way that you could do that, if you have access to the foot, if the foot's even still there, if I can take the boot off without, first do no harm, right? Without doing more damage. yes, I can look for a pedal pulse. So one of the things that we touch on in the essential responder class is radial and pedal pulses.
Right.
But primarily what I want people to take away is visually observe that the flow of blood has stopped. If it hasn't, tighten the windlass further, because that's idiot proof. That's dummy proof. Versus, I don't care if we have a pedal pulse or not, if there's still blood coming out of the bleeding vessel. If it's still psh, 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 I don't need to check for a pulse. I need to tighten the windlass.
Yeah.
And so depending on what level of training you have or have had in the past, the first thing we want is to stop the flow of blood. And when we look for a pedal pulse in the foot, there shouldn't be one if we've applied a tourniquet. We don't want a pedal pulse. There should be no pulse, just like there shouldn't be a radial pulse if I apply a tourniquet to the arm. The blood flow should be turned off. If I have a pulse, that means that the windlass, the sticky thing, isn't as tight as it needs to be. So the absence of a pedal pulse, the absence of a radial pulse is what we're looking for. But we're really looking for the absence of the flow of blood, which can be visually observed at the wound to go, yep, it's not bleeding anymore. Cool.
Now, I can say, in the event that, say, it's a car accident and you're rendering aid to a car accident and there's a broken femur.
Mm-hmm.
You want to apply a tourniquet because that leg is broken. The femoral artery runs directly on the inside of the femur, or directly up against the bone, rather.
Yep.
In the event of a breakage, a shard, whatever the case may be, gets very sharp. It can easily puncture that femur. If it's not an open break, you're not going to be able to determine that there is blood loss. 100%. Now, that is where you apply the tourniquet every single time, always. If the leg looks like jello, broken bone, apply a tourniquet. Okay, at minimum, apply a tourniquet. That is where checking for a pedal pulse would really come into play.
And what if they don't need a tourniquet? Okay, they're fine. They will be fine. We, especially with a committee on TCCC recommended commercially manufactured windlass tourniquet, like the CAT or the SOF, we're not doing any damage to them.
Not at all.
Not at all. So if you put the tourniquet on and they didn't need it, okay, that's fine. A medical professional will just take it off again. But if you don't put it on and they need it, they will die. Rawren, what do you got, Rawren?
I don't know if they can hear me, so I'll pose the statement and I'll let you guys run with it. But
why don't you ask the chat? Can you guys chat?
Yeah,
can you hear Lauren?
Can you hear Lauren? I saw your post yesterday from Gary V. Talking about experiences.
Yep.
And we're moving into such a digital age that less and less people are going to know about real life and what to do in real life.
Yeah.
And he talked about how important experiences are going to be the more we get away from real life, right? And to me, like our training, there's going to be less people concerned about that, which is a problem.
So yes and no. For every action, there's an equal and opposite counter reaction, right? Physics is a thing, and that pattern is observable throughout all populations throughout history. The shifting of an Overton window. Think about politics. The more radical one side gets, the more radical the other side gets, right? And so, but I posted this thing on Instagram yesterday with Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, talking about how in 20 years, people...
Such a smart dude.
Bro, he is. He's good. He can see trends, right?
Yeah.
He said in 20 years, people are going to pay someone else a significant amount of money just to go on a walk with them. As everything continues to become digitized and commoditized, people are going to be missing that human interaction. And that immediately, for me, my brain went to what we do here, which is scenario-based training. Because we sell first aid kits. We make these in America. We guarantee them forever. Cool. That's a product line that I'm incredibly proud of, because 144 people got to go home to their families because we showed up to work.
Absolutely.
Right? But the primary business that we are in is education and instruction. That's primarily what we do. We are an education company, an instruction company. And we do that digitally. Like, we have a webinar that's coming up the 30th of this month, where we'll be teaching our Responder 1 class just like this via live stream. I think it's $99 standalone, or it's free with any order over $299. You just get that plus a boogie, which is an awesome little first aid kit for your glove box, backpack, purse, for free with any order over $2.99. So we do digital instruction, digital education, and that's a great place to start. It's way better than having no instruction at all. It's way better than being this
100%.
kid in the woods that he didn't know. Praise Yah, he figured it out, but he didn't know. But the experiential learning, last week in our Refuge classroom last Thursday, every Thursday we do a Refuge classroom where one of us will get up and instruct in front of everybody else. And last week we were talking about how to teach. This week we're talking about public speaking and the STAR system, which is its internal use, because we're an education and instruction company, right? So much so that we teach each other inside of this building before we go and teach everybody else. And experiential learning, how to teach, is really important because you might be a visual person.
Yeah.
I might be an auditory person. Lauren might be a kinesthetic person.
Yep.
Okay, and then we all need the repetition of doing it so
Right.
we can develop the automaticity, what the industry calls the muscle memory, to be able to do it under stress without thinking about it.
Right.
And we've had many people who have come to class, then gone on to save a life with their kid out in the real world, who have written in and said, training was more stressful than the real thing.
Oh yeah, Eric, who saved the arm
Yeah.
of his coworker.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, you guys yelled at me so much. I was like, this isn't even that big a deal.
Right. But that's the point, right? I want it to be, when you have to do it for real, you don't even have to think about it. That in real life, you're like, this actually isn't that bad. That's
Right.
called stress inoculation.
Yeah.
And that's part of the point of coming in person to class, is to gain that automaticity and that stress inoculation, that when you have to do it for real, you don't think about it. It just happens.
Right.
And then I've had instances where I've rendered aid where I don't even remember what happened. Like, I'm not aware of what my hands are doing. They're just doing. And then scene safe, okay, look left, look right. I think we're done. I did the EMS handoff, and it's like you kind of come out of this fog almost where everything was just happening automatically, and you're like, holy crap. Like, I think I just saved 2 people's lives. That was amazing. That's what you want, right? You don't want to be hyper fixated in the moment where you're tunnel visioned, you're in brain fog, you're right. You just want to, it needs to just happen. And we do that through in-person training. Raren?
So when Heath and I rendered aid, Heath is by far, I don't know if you know this, TJ, but by far he is the calm one out of the 2 of us.
No way.
Yeah. So he
Good
is
job,
definitely
bro.
the one who's always the parent who helps when there's actual trauma, like when our kid broke his arm and it was crooked.
Yep.
I tend to be the one that freaks out a little bit more. So in that situation, as much as I've been here and filming and all that, I don't feel like I even have enough reps and sets because I was shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And Heath is just like putting on gloves, getting in the car, trying to see what he can do, not phased. And I'm over here like this,
Yeah,
And
taking my
that
pocket
speaks
knife
to-
out,
Yep.
cutting out the airbags and
Yeah.
everything,
It
just
speaks
doing
to
everything I can to gain
mindset.
access.
Calm is contagious.
Yep.
Being high strung, not so much.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
that's why you're a great role player.
I am so good at that.
When you're at the MVA scenario,
Oh, incredible.
I was like, this is amazing. You know how many times I've done the MVA scenario? I don't know,
You and
1,000
Jamie
times.
were just like, what the
I was
F?
like, this is great. Like, I think she's actually freaking out. Like, we should monitor Lauren. Like,
She freaks out so
Yeah,
organically.
exactly. I was like, this is so believable.
I've had so much practice. So that's where I have my
It's like, Mike, go
represent.
take her pulse.
Fantastic.
Yeah. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, go take her pulse. She's a little. It was awesome. So let's hit the high points before we go over to the Refuge classroom and sign off for today. Number 1, I would love your feedback in the comments on, number 1, this format, and then number 2, this time block, Thursday mornings. You like it? You don't like it? You like it better than Wednesday? Let's do some compare contrast there. Give me the data to work from, please. Next, our buy one, get one promo is ending the end of this month. And so buy one, get one 30% off any kit of equal or lesser value. And it's all at the website, refugemedical.com. It also includes buckets. So your birthing bucket, postpartum bucket, wound care bucket, and surgical bucket, they're all buy one, get one.
You have 16 days.
Oof, yeah.
Oof.
We have 2 weeks remain to sign up for the remote responder, which is our virtual class that's coming up on the 30th. If you don't have a trainer kit, I strongly recommend you get a trainer kit. And the reason for that, like if you come to class here, why do we provide you with a trainer kit here? It's because I don't want you to take your actual kit and tear it apart training and then leave here and need it.
Yep.
And it's all yard saled all over the place. So I want your actual kit to remain intact if/when you need it, which is the point of having a trainer kit. And all the reps and sets that we're going to do, because you shouldn't train once, you should train these things over and over again. All the wear and tear on that kit is on the trainer kit, and I know my actual kit is good to go, it's pristine, and when I need it, it'll work. So remote responders, May 30th, and you should get a training kit if you don't already have one. They're available at the store. Hit the little search icon. It looks like a magnifying glass. It's in the top left, I think. And just put in trainer kit. You'll find it. Which brings us again to the end of this month. Any orders over $299, you get that class remote responder free. Comes with the class. It's a $99 value, and you get a free boogie. And the boogies are not available any other way right now. And the boogie's just a little tiny, even as a boo-boo kit, it has bleeding control in it.
Yep. Because
it's got an S-mark bandage that you can make a tourniquet with, used as a pressure bandage for wound packing, and it's got compressed gauze in it. So our pre-hospital trauma medicine ethos even spills over into our freaking boo-boo kits. Because I don't want people to have a false sense of confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even this little tiny kit you can do bleeding control with, right? At the website, if you're not signed up for the newsletter, you should be, because there are newsletter exclusive deals that are going out each week. Kind of like Palmetto State Armory does their deal of the day. I got more guns than I can count. I've got more ammo than I can count. I'm clicking that email every time it comes through from Palmetto.
What can I get 10 magazines with?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, do I need another polymer frame striker fired 9mm pistol? No. Does that mean I'm not going to buy one? No.
Also no.
No. And so, similar to that, every week we've got emails going out that are email exclusive deals. They may be kits, they may be components, it may be training, and at significant savings. So make sure you're signed up for that. And this Saturday night, we have a brandy new thing that we've never done before that's dropping via email.
Ooh.
So stay tuned to that.
You named it Brandy?
One spot.
Brandy new.
Brandy new.
We have
Nice.
S-marks, which are like SWAT tees, they're like yoga bands for trauma medicine. They're arriving soon. So if your order hasn't shipped yet and is waiting on an S-mark, it should ship out the beginning of this coming week. So that's just something to be aware of. I have, on my channel, I have touched on supply chain issues for years, and this industry is not unaffected by supply chain. So,
100%.
but we talked to TACMed yesterday, who's our vendor on those, and we're like, we gotta have these. Like, I have to have these. And they were properly motivated to go find the box that was on the shipping dock and has been for 2 weeks, and put a label on it and overnight it to me. So hopefully today it should be arriving. And so the orders that need those S-marks should be going out soon.
Good.
Mike, are you doing a BVM or what, homie?
Can we talk about that we have one spot left with Trainer?
Oh yes, we can.
One spot.
For the what?
For the train the trainer.
What's the train the trainer? You got a BVM?
It's behind him, and so is the dummy.
Cool.
Nice.
Tell him about that while Mike walks over here.
All right, so we've got the train the trainer. This is a wonderful opportunity for any of you individuals who have people surrounding you who would like to be trained up in trauma aid. We will be equipping you with our curriculum to be able to take what we do in training, take that to your people, to your loved ones, and you can build a business off of it, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
But you have the legitimate opportunity to take our curriculum and go train other people. Oh boy, gloves.
Oh, we're gonna get the tattoo gloves, huh?
Why gloves?
Scoot over just a little bit, put TJ in the middle, the camera will.
Because people
right
are
in the
gross.
screen.
I'm going to bring out
The camera needs to know you're
my
there.
body's
See?
substance
It will-
isolation.
Why gloves? Gloves on, scene safe. It's part of the S March E. You know, if it's wet and not yours, don't touch it. That's a basic.
Yep.
Explain like I'm 5. If it's wet and not yours, don't touch it.
Stryker said, should we be praying for Refuge to move in the direction of manufacturing?
Yep.
Look, he came back alive for that part.
Okay, so in theory, you want your patient laying down for this. It makes it a whole lot easier.
Wait,
Perfect.
Mike, what is a BVM?
This is a bag valve mask.
Ah, okay.
I'm not good at pretending to be dead.
So what you want to do is, like I told you earlier, you want the E and C method. So the E goes with the C goes over the cup, puts it over the nose, and you put your 3 fingers, which is the E, under the chin, and you bag the patient nice and slow.
Why do we do it slow, Mike?
Because you don't want to hyperventilate the patient, which defeats the whole purpose of this device. I'll let you bring it.
Wow, you're so good at that. I'm still alive.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa! Yay! Good job, Mike. You did it.
All right.
And that was your medic minute.
Appreciate it.
We have 0 to hero, and we do have some spots left.
Oh yeah, 0 to Hero is a phenomenal class. I was just on the phone with Evan yesterday. So that's an in-person class that will be here in Spiro, Oklahoma. The cost of the class includes your radio. So you will leave with a radio that you programmed, that you know how to work, the whole 9. So even if you have a radio you want to bring to class, okay, that's fine. But you're going to go through the entire process. It's a 2-day class. 2 days. That price for 2 days of instruction from a professional on how to use your radio, unparalleled. And sorry, I'm doing Trump. Unparalleled, so good. Evan, when Helene hit the mountains, very bad. Evan sent radios to everyone, and he said, "Don't pay me. I love you. I'll handle it." And he did. Like, most people are completely unaware of what a good guy Evan is, and
Great
just
heart.
a heart of gold, 100%. And he was sending out radios, not just to Grindstone, to anyone. Dude was up day and night programming radios, looking up repeaters, the whole just pushing out of his, pulling stock off of the shelves and just sending it to whoever needed it.
Yeah.
Completely unafraid, unaware of, unconcerned with the cost to his company to be able to do that. And that's when you know the real measure of a man. And so it's an honor to have Evan and team coming here to teach at Refuge, because the alignment between their ideology and our ideology for the preservation of life is like, dude, we are right there together.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know anything about radios, you don't even have a radio, come to this class. You will leave with a radio. Yes.
So yeah, I was gonna say you go out of class with the radio. Lunch is provided, so you don't have to worry about leaving. And this isn't I'm gonna sit at a desk the whole time. He actually sends you out on missions.
Yep.
Which is amazing. Like,
Yep.
you have to use it and prove that you have learned what you're doing.
Oh, experiential learning,
Yes.
scenario-based training.
Yes.
Wow. And we'll be here too. So if like you want to hang out and, you know, chew the fat or whatever nice people say, I was going to say shoot the stuff. We'll be here too, because it's Refuge. So that's our live stream this week. Please do us a favor. If you're new here, subscribe, ring the little bell icon, comment for the YouTube algorithm, and share the show with somebody you love. Super duper looking forward to seeing you guys next week. If you have any questions, call the store. The phone number's at the website. A real human being will answer the phone. Shoot us an email. All of our email contacts are at the website. Or use the live chat. We don't use robots. There's no AI. Real people will answer you.
You're going to talk to one of us.
100%. And whatever questions you have, we are here to serve. Okay? Love God, love people. You're our people. How can we love on you today? Just reach out and we got you. And we'll see you guys next week.
Shalom.
Shalom.